Welcome back. The beautiful thing, I think, for most people who love good theatre is that we've got some great shows coming up at the moment. Mike Walsh, of course, has Anything Goes running in Sydney. It's about to come down to Melbourne. The reports on that have been brilliant. And the other show which everyone is looking forward to is 42nd Street, one of the greatest musicals of all time. It's about to go into rehearsal in Sydney. And it's got a huge cast of 57. And with 40 members of the chorus, it's a great opportunity for Australian musical talent. And we've got three of the stars with us today. I'd like you to welcome Todd McKenney and Leonie Paige here in Melbourne, and in Sydney, the incomparable Nancye Hayes. Welcome. And I like that shot. Can I see it again? Looks like one of those school photographs, and they always just insert the bloke who couldn't be there that day, or the bloke who had the measles. Hiya, Nancye.
Hi, Bert.
Good to see you.
Lovely to be here.
This is, of course, nothing new for you to go into a top musical, Nancye, but for the younger members of the cast here, whilst they've had other chances on stage, this is possibly the big one for them. Leonie, for you, of course, it's a great opportunity, isn't it?
It's fantastic because the role of Peggy Sawyer is pretty well the pivotal role of the show. It's she's the chorus girl who becomes a star.
How did this big chance come your way?
Well, just auditioning really, but 5 years ago they were going to bring the show out and they auditioned then. And I was 16, but I got cast as Peggy, so I was very disappointed when it didn't happen. But I decided if it came out again, I was determined to get the role back.
What shows have you done so far?
Well, Todd and I actually worked together in a show called Song and Dance, which was in 1983. That toured to Melbourne and Sydney. And then Cats, which was, I was in the original cast in Sydney.
How long were you with Cats?
For the first year.
It's a long time, I guess, with a lot of costume and a lot of makeup.
Oh, yeah. It is. The wigs are stuck on with glue, so every night you've got to rip them off your face. So a year is a long time.
What about you, Todd, wanting to go in to theatre when you were an even younger guy? Did you get a lot of flack from your mates?
Oh, yes, heaps and heaps. But you'd learn to cope with it, and it's something that I always wanted to do and didn't think twice. My mum's a dancing teacher, and so she taught me how to dance, and I think sometimes because it was cheaper than a babysitter, I don't know.
And what about the show itself? Of course, I mean, when it was first on Broadway, none of us, I'm proud to say, was born. Do you reckon it holds up for 1989?
Oh, of
Absolutely.
course. You know, what I think is good, and I'm sure Nancye and Leonie will agree, that it's back to that old style of Broadway that we all sort of brought up with and love. It's, you know, hoofing. It's real hoofing. It's not tapping. It's sort of, it's right down to the ground. It's huge.
It's just so energetic, and all we're trying to do is entertain. It really is fabulous.
It's got a happy ending too, which is
yes,
amazing.
Exactly, which is a new thing, for this day and age.
I'm wondering if you'd like to go to centre stage. I'll have a chat to Nancye. You're doing a number for us today, which we're looking forward to. You're doing the title song, aren't you? Yes. So whilst I'm close to you, good luck for the opening, which is in when? It's
June the 2nd.
June the 2nd.
Yeah.
You're about to go to rehearsals, as I mentioned, and I know that you'll kill them. And this really does seem to be the big one for both of you.
Oh,
So
definitely.
big choice.
Yep.
Thanks a lot.
Right, good luck to you. Across the centre stage, if you will, and I'll get down to my old mate who's waiting for us in Sydney, Nancye Hayes. How are you, Nance?
I'm very well, Bert.
Listening to those kids then, I suppose it brings back a lot of memories for you, because I'm old enough to remember when you were plucked from the chorus to star in a certain musical here in Australia.
That's right. That was Sweet Charity.
What were your feelings then?
Well, terror more than anything, but also that it was great to have the opportunity so young to do a role like Sweet Charity.
You're only
And
17, I think, or a little older. How old
A
were you?
little older than that. I was actually 24, but I did do Hedy LaRue and How to Succeed in Business before that when I was 21.
Right.
So I'd had a little bit of a chance to play a principal role, but something like Sweet Charity was huge, as is Peggy Sawyer for Leonie, and I think her name is on that part. Obviously, if she got it 5 years ago, she was meant to do it.
Nancye, when you see kids like Todd and Leonie going into show business, I mean, fair enough, they've been there for a couple of years, but they haven't got the wealth of experience like someone like yourself. Do you sometimes worry about what could be waiting for them?
No, I think they've got great talent, and there will be the hard times, of course there will, but I think their talent will see them through, and their love of it. And if you really want to do it, there's nothing to replace it. I just know that they'll do well, and they'll have a lot of support from people around them.
Sure. Of course, you were around during I think a near dreadful period in Australian theatre when we really did welcome to our shores some third-rate actors and actresses who took the starring roles, while people like you and even before you, Jill Perryman, and people of that calibre, Tiki Taylor, they were basically in the chorus watching these people, nice people they might have been, but not with your talent. Was it a hurtful period?
It was, really, but you learn from people doing the wrong thing too, you know. You learn what not to do as well as watching good people. I think if you always continue to hone your craft and believe the time will come for you, that's the only thing that keeps you going.
Nancye, given that you were in John Dietrich's magnificent production of 9, which almost made it to Broadway, do you think we're very far away from having the great Australian musical be successful internationally?
Well, we've still got a way to go. We certainly haven't got anything on the scale of a 42nd Street or a 9. But at the moment I'm appearing in an Australian musical called Summer Rain, which has just had great success at the Opera Theatre here. And that's a middle-sized cast, about 15 in an orchestra of 9. And while it certainly still needs some work on it, it's been well received in Sydney, very well received, and people are loving hearing the Australian accents and seeing references to Australia. You know, they're really enjoying that.
We talked to Olivia before, and Pat Carroll, and talked about the fact they went to England back in the 60s. You surely must have on a couple of occasions felt that you wanted to go overseas and prove something?
Well, I did, but I had that opportunity so early, you see. I did have the work here, and it kept me here. I travel a great deal. I look at what's being done over there, both as a learning process and also to see that we have got the ability here. We have great talent here, and I've wanted to stay home, and I love my home and my country, so I've been fortunate to be able to work here and live successfully here.
We're glad you made that decision because we've seen you in some wonderful shows, and I know that 42nd Street will be just another one in June when it opens.
Well,
Good luck to you,
yes.
Nancye, and
It's
hope to see you before opening
isn't
night.
it? Thank you, Bert.
Bye now. Nancye Hayes, one of the stars of 42nd Street, who'll be joining on June the 2nd at the opening of 42nd Street, the two younger performers that we met earlier, Leonie, Paige and Todd McKenney. And here they are, just to give you a preview of what we can expect from this great musical, 42nd Street.